The thing that we're going to look at today is Annotator Finishes. Now, in short, to explain to you what exactly Annotator Finishes are, Annotator Finishes are basically where you enter finishes like text, dimensions, hatch, and leaders, so that they are represented at different scaled viewports on your sheet in exactly the same way. So it doesn't matter what scale your viewport is at, all your finishes will display the same on all your different viewports. So to explain that to you, we are basically going to take a standard sample drawing in our sample drawing folder in Caddie. We're going to take that drawing and we're going to apply some Annotator Finishes to that. So if you have a look at this drawing that we've got in front of us, the first thing, or what I'm going to use, is basically the section that we've got circled in our model space. I'm going to use that section to show you exactly how you can apply Annotator Finishes. So if I zoom in on that section that we've got over there, you will see it's a normal section that we want to place on our sheet at a 1 in 100 scale. But what I'm also going to do is I've got a little detail section over here which I've circled so you can see what I'm or what I want to achieve. In that circle, I want to place that as a detail on my sheet at a 1 in 20 scale as well. So just so that you can see what exactly I'm talking about. Now obviously if I go to my sheet where I've already created a viewport at 1 in 100 scale, you'll see that is exactly what we'll have. Another viewport of that detail area, using our Viewports command, I'm going to create a circular viewport. And I place it on sheet 1 at a scale of, let's say, 1 to 20. I'm just going to snap over here. In that viewport, this text is displayed at different sizes on the sheet itself. That's because the viewport is scaled and the text is scaled accordingly as well. If I go back to my model space, what can we do to cater for these two different scaled viewports? Now, first of all, you will see with nothing selected in Object Properties, nothing selected, we have an annotation scale. Now, the annotation scale of your model space is the scale at which you want to apply the annotative finishes. In this case, I'm going to apply it to text. So if I select one of those text entities as well, you will see it says one text entity is selected and that annotative is set to no, which means that text is not annotative at this point. You will see a height, which is the physical height in model space, which is currently set to 200. Now, if I should take these 2, 3, 4 text entities and I select them, you will see all 4 of them are not annotative. So I'm going to change that setting so that it is set to annotative yes, and you will see immediately it adds the 1 in 100 annotation scale to that. And the reason for that is because my model space annotation scale is 1 in 100. So selecting those text entities once again, you will see all those text entities are annotative at a scale of 1 in 100. So what we want to do is we want those text entities to also display in my 1 in 20 viewport correctly. So all that you do is you click on that scale over there. You will see currently it only uses 1 in 100 as my annotation scale. So I just add the 1 in 20 to that as well. And I update that. Which means those text entities that I've selected is currently annotative at the scale of 1 to 20 as well as 1 in 100. But how will that affect how it is displayed in my model space? Now in my model space, once again with nothing selected, if I change my annotation scale from 1 in 100 to 1 in 20, you will see that the text entities now has a different display in my model space itself. And you will see obviously some of the text is not within the viewport area. So if that happens, all you do is you select the text and you use the text you move the text by using the grip point and then moving it to its correct position where you want them to be placed. So if I move all these text entities to the correct position, you will see that is now how it looks at 1 and 20, or how it will look at 1 and 20. And if I change my model space annotation scale to 1 and 100, you will see that is how it's going to be represented at the 1 and 100 scale. How will that look on my sheet? So if I go to my sheet now, you will see that in my 1 and 100 viewport, the text is displayed correctly, and in my 1 and 20 viewport, it is also displayed correctly, all the same size. So in model space, we still have only one text entity per text entry, but it is displayed at two different scales, two different sizes in my model space, which means it automatically scales it up to my relevant viewport scale. So that is how you do it by using existing text and making it annotative and changing its scales. But what do I do if I want to enter new text? So I'm going to enter two text entities. The one I want to be visible at 1 and 100. The other one I only want to be visible at 1 and 20. So what do I do? How do I do that? If I go into my text settings, normal text parameter set, you normally have the text settings as you would find it. It says Annotative, which you can switch on and off. Now in the past, you can make it 2 millimeters, Annotative 1 and 100 to place it in model space, which means on your 1 and 100 viewports, it will display 2 millimeters high. Or if I switch the Annotative option on, the plotted height is now 2, which means 2 drawing units. In this case, I'm working in millimeters. So currently it's annotative. It will be displayed as 2. When I say OK to that, once again, before I enter the text, I have a look at my annotation scale in model space. So if I want my text to be displayed at 1 and 100 viewport, I set my annotation scale for my model space to 1 and 100. So if I now enter text as normal, I can just write text 1 to 100. When I click on OK, according to that. If I want to add text that's only applicable to my detail, I can zoom in here just for clarity. All I do is I change my annotation scale to 1 and 20, enter some more text. Let's capitalize that, text 1 to 20. Click OK, and you will immediately see the text corresponds with all the text on the detail as well. So my text settings remains the same. All that I'm doing is I'm changing my annotation scale. And if I go over to my viewports now, to my sheets, you will see that in my 1 and 100 viewport, the text displays, but it does not display in my detail. Text 1 and 20, it displays in my detail over here, but not. So by taking text like this and choosing its annotation scale in model space, text that you've entered will only be visible in viewports that has the scale relevant to my annotation scale. In all viewports which has different scales not equal to my annotation scale, that text will automatically be switched off. Now to take that one step further, it is called Annotator Finishes and not only annotative text. So if you have a look at, for instance, your hatching over here, the hatching I made annotative, but it's only annotative at 1 and 20, which means that hatch will only be displayed at the 1 and 20 scale and not at 1 and 100. So once again, have a look at our sheet. In my 1 and 20 detail, the hatch is displayed. In my 1 and 100 detail, the hatch is automatically switched off. And the same applies to things like your leaders as well as your dimensions. Now once again, having a look at dimensions, you will see I've added dimensions in here. Those dimensions are annotative, but only at a scale of 1 in 20, which means they will only be displayed within my viewport, which has a 1 in 20 scale, but not the 1 in 100 one. So once again, let's have a look. In my 1 in 20 viewport, it is displayed. In my 1 in 100 viewport, it is not displayed. So once again, how can I enter new dimensions? Go to my model space. If I want a viewport only to display 1 in 20, or a dimension to be only to be displayed in 1 in 20, I set my model space scale 1 in 20. And it will be displayed over there. Then the same way I can change my model space scale to 1 in 100. From there to there. Play it over there. And I'm just going to move that dimension text to the side there so you can see it. And if I should go over to my sheet, you will see viewport, only that text displays, only that dimension displays. And in my other viewport, only that dimension displays. So your viewports can, or your finishes can be used that way, either to be switched on and off in different viewports using your annotation scale, or you can also apply one dimension or one text or one hatch entity to be displayed in different viewports at different scales as well. And that is basically what annotative finishes entail.